Hey everybody, it's Tony with Big T Bariatric and I'm back with another video. Today it is Tuesday, November 29th. I hope you're having a great day so far. Today I decided that I would like to talk about something that's a little more personal, and that's the connection between obesity and ADHD. And the reason why I want to talk about this is to help give some awareness to it, because not a lot of people realize that there is a connection between the two. And it's something I've struggled with my entire life, but never even knew what it was or that I had it until the last few years. And it would have been great to know when I was a kid, maybe to have been diagnosed with it before now. But that's a disclaimer that I want to say, is that I've never been officially diagnosed with ADHD, but I'm about 97% sure that I have it. And the reason is because it just matches everything that I've been dealing with. Like, I've been looking and searching online for, okay, what is wrong with me mentally? Why can't I focus? Why do I forget things so quickly? How come my brain is constantly like on a million rabbit trails every day? As soon as I try to sit down and say, hey, I need to do this, I need to focus on this, I can't do it. I'm focused on other things, and I got this enter my brain and that enter my brain, and I'm always going on it's like having 50 browsers open, and each one of them is, got an ad playing in the background, and you hear different music going, and it's like you're trying to concentrate on one browser, but another one grabs your attention, and you just can't focus on any one thing. And if you've ever watched my videos and you've noticed a little bit of a stutter, that sometimes I just kind of go into a random tangent and I seem like I don't know what I'm talking about, or just the way my speech pattern is. Like, it's always affected me my whole life. My sister and I were going through some old papers we found from our dad from years ago that we had a box shipped to us from our former stepmom, Debbie. She sent us some stuff, and so we were going through, and my sister actually found this box in her garage, and we're going through it, and I saw a certificate I received in kindergarten for completing speech therapy classes. I was a huge stutterer when I was in kindergarten. So ADHD has affected me since I was a kid, the way I talk, because sometimes I talk too fast for my brain to catch up on, and so I stutter and I miss out on what I'm talking about, and it's been a struggle my entire life. And so I've actually been trying to talk my doctor into helping me get a formal diagnosis for it, and she doesn't want to, mainly because the only treatment for ADHD is stimulants, and she thinks that being at my size, getting a treatment for ADHD and taking stimulants would be harmful for my heart at my current size. So that is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. I'm trying to lose weight to get to a healthy weight, because ADHD has impacted my life so dramatically that you guys don't even realize it. I've lost out on so many opportunities, so many big jobs, big projects I was hired to do, that I just could not complete it in enough time, or I just mentally couldn't comprehend what I was being asked to do. And so I just lost out on so much in my life because of having ADHD. I attempted to go to college. I couldn't do it. I almost flunked out of high school. I failed algebra 2 or 3 times, and they eventually just had to graduate me because they couldn't keep holding me back. I graduated when I was 19 years old because I had to go back for a whole nother semester to make up for things missed throughout kindergarten and even middle school. I had to go to summer school, stuff like that, just to keep up with the curriculum. And it's not like I'm stupid. I'm a very intelligent person. I can think very well when I can think. There's times I can hyper focus on some things and get some stuff done, but it's very difficult for me. And with all that being said, there is a connection between ADHD and obesity, and I wanted to share this with you guys because you might be sitting there wondering why you're overweight, and there's a connection there that you're not sure why you're overweight. Like what's going on? How come you just can't seem to get past it? You're struggling your whole life with this thing called obesity, and is it a side effect of something else you're dealing with? Maybe mentally you can't overcome some things. And so here's an article from the American Journal of Psychiatry, and there's a certain topic that shares the connection between ADHD and obesity, and maybe you might realize that, okay, wow, maybe I am overweight because of ADHD. Maybe there's some other hormonal things going on. And so it's not always willpower. It's not. There's always this whole mental journey that you're going to take. And me having ADHD combined with a lot of the tragic and horrible abuse that I went through as a kid, it sort of just kind of combined into this perfect storm where just my life was a complete mess from the beginning. And I'm sort of getting to a point now at 38 years old where I'm starting to take control of my life. I'm realizing, okay, what is wrong? What have I been dealing with? I needed some therapy. I needed some help. Okay, maybe I am ADHD, and just looking into that, and now that I sort of know that that's what I've been dealing with my whole life, like I'm finally getting help for it. I'm finally finding ways to overcome it, even without stimulant help. And so that's just going to be a journey that I'm going to be on for the rest of my life. I'm always going to deal with ADHD, whether I have treatment for it or not. And so here are the findings of the article. It says ADHD is a neurobiological psychiatric disorder in children, adults, and other people with a prevalence of between 2.5% and 5% in the general population. So only about 5% or less of people Sorry, I'm trying to read at the same time. See, ADHD, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. 5% of people in the general population have ADHD. ADHD is characterized by lifetime symptoms of inattentiveness, forgetfulness, impulsive behavior, mood swings, and restlessness. Binge eating is one of the manifestations of impulsivity in ADHD. Difficulty in planning is a consequence of inattentiveness in ADHD is often expressed by skipping breakfast and lunch. In addition, ADHD is highly comorbid with other psychiatric disorders, including seasonal depression, which I got, anxiety, which I got, and circadian rhythm disturbances. I don't think I have that. Children and adults with ADHD usually suffer from short sleep duration due to insomnia. I have that big time, which has been associated with delayed onset of melatonin. Short sleep duration, binge eating, and skipping meals are all associated with obesity. So you might be wondering, okay, how is skipping meals contributing to obesity? But if you are just so mentally inattentive that you don't even remember to eat, that's going to lead to your body okay, hey buddy, you're not getting enough calories. You're going to binge eat later on. So short sleep duration, which has been a huge my whole life. I've always had insomnia. I cannot fall asleep. I can't fall asleep without taking melatonin. I sort of figured out a way of taking melatonin and magnesium. If I take those two together, then that really helps me go to sleep and stay asleep. Without taking those, I cannot usually fall asleep till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which I've been suffering with because after weight loss surgery, I've been told to discontinue taking melatonin until my stomach heals. So I've not had melatonin. I've not had anything to help me fall asleep. So I stay up late and I wake up fairly early, maybe 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. I joke with my friend Steve that I wake up at 9 or whatever, but really I'm up at 6 or 7 in the morning. Sometimes I do sleep until 9. If I've just had a good 2 weeks of just not really falling asleep until 2 or 3 in the morning, and I wake up in the middle of the night, I can't fall back asleep or whatever, then I might sleep until 9 sometimes. But yeah, it's just a contributing factor to obesity is not being able to get enough sleep, not being able to rest well enough. So it says obesity rates are increasing worldwide and constitute a huge public health concern because of the relationship with chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. So here's a neurobiological background of overlap. Behavior abnormalities in both ADHD and obesity may be related to addictive behaviors. Disturbance in the neurotransmitter dopamine plays an important role in all three conditions. Treatment of eating disorders and obesity is no longer considered to be brainless. Changes in behavior can be related to brain plasticity changes induced by obesity and are observed in both animal models and human subjects. So I'm going to read that last part again. Changes in behavior can be related to brain plasticity changes induced by obesity and are observed in both animal models and human subjects. So as you continue to get bigger and bigger and you become obese, like that changes your whole brain chemistry. And obesity can change this behavior to the point where you learn a new behavior and you can't get rid of that behavior. Functional magnetic resonance imaging studies have identified 3 shared neurobehavioral circuits in ADHD, obesity, and abnormal eating behavior. These circuits are associated with reward processing, response inhibition, and emotional processing and regulation. So it's all part of the same sort of circuits in your brain: ADHD, obesity, and abnormal eating behavior. So it's all about reward processing. So to explain that in layman's terms, as I understand it, there's a lack of dopamine in my brain because of having ADHD. And so when I find something that rewards my brain, something that lights up, that gives me a little hit of dopamine, I want more of it. And I want more of it. And I'm not going to stop wanting more of it, because having a lack of dopamine receptors in my brain normally, there's not a lot that makes me happy. So I'm sort of in a depressed state, in an anxious state. I'm unable to sleep. I'm struggling with life because I can't concentrate like normal people can concentrate. And so when I find something that gives me a little hit of dopamine, it's like, wow, that feels great. I want more of that. And so usually you turn to food, you turn to drugs, you turn to other things that gives you that hit of dopamine. But the thing is that once it gives you a hit of dopamine and you feel good and it feels great, it's like, okay, I'm going to need more of that next time. Like I'm going to eat that same substance, I'm going to take that same drug, but it's not going to reward me like it did. So I talked about having an addiction to pain medication before. The way it starts out is you take one pain pill and it gives you that feel-good pleasure. You get that hit of dopamine or whatever, and it rewards your brain. But then one isn't enough. Maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, it's like, wow, I'm not getting that same pleasure from that one pill. I need to take a second pill just to get that same pleasure. And the more you sort of go to that same substance, the less it interacts with your dopamine receptor. So it's like, oh man, I need 3 pills now. Oh man, I need 4 pills. Like it's not working out the same way that it was. I'm not getting that hit of dopamine. Like I want to feel good. I want to feel pleasure. I want to be happy, because I'm just so down and depressed, and I get seasonal affective disorder, and I get so much anxiety, and it's just the way it's wreaking havoc in my brain and in my body. It's like, oh man, there's not very much to be happy about, because I don't have those normal dopamine receptors that other people do. And so it's the same way with food. Like food interacts with that dopamine receptor. It gives you a hit of pleasure, and before you know it, that little bit is not enough. You need a little more food next time. Then you need a little more food, and that creates a psychiatric disorder, and also it changes and distorts your eating behavior. The interrelatedness of sleep debt, that's another thing, by circadian disturbances. Sleep debt is if you go weeks and weeks and weeks and you're not getting much sleep and you're staying up late because you can't fall asleep, you incur a sleep debt. And that's how much sleep that your body needs to make up on in order to get to a normal level. So the interrelatedness of sleep debt by circadian disturbances, melatonin, and appetite hormones is a subject of current research. Ongoing studies in the gut-brain connection and on the microbiome and psychiatric disorders and eating behavior may bring us closer to the necessary steps to improve mental and physical health in patients with ADHD and the increasing number of obese individuals in the general population. So I'm sure you guys don't want to sit there and watch me read this whole article, so I'm not going to. But there's a lot more to it. Like, you can't just tell a fat person to start eating salads and make the changes that he needs to make. Like, it takes a lot of work to overcome sleep debt, years of sleep debt, to find a good balance, to understand mentally what's going on. And if if that person like me has ADHD, it makes it that much harder to overcome. It certainly does. It's psychiatric disorders, it's sleep debt, it's an imbalance of eating, it's a lack of dopamine receptors, it's just so much more. And I'm going to read this last little bit here and then I'll be done. But treatment of obesity in ADHD patients can be complex and involves careful assessment of all disorders and risk factors to determine the best order of treatment. Common comorbidity patterns are ADHD, delayed sleep phase disorder, binge eating, obesity, and depression or anxiety. Like, I've had to deal with all of that my whole life. Untreated, unrealized, not knowing what was going on in my life. Like, you have to overcome all of that. It's not just eat a salad, fat boy. It's you have to overcome. Again, I want to read it. ADHD, delayed sleep phase disorder, binge eating, obesity, and depression or anxiety. All of it. All of the above. Check the box. That's me. Treatments start with psychoeducation on the interrelatedness of late and short sleep, skipping meals, binge eating, and obesity. In addition, depressed mood often increases the craving for carbohydrate-rich food, especially in the wintertime. Yeah, wintertime is bad for me. I get seasonal affective disorder big time because it's like, that's why I'm always hoping we have a mild winter and we get a few more sunny days, because here in Michigan, it can get really cloudy, really depressing. There's lack of color, like all the trees lose their leaves, so there's no green. The white clouds cover the sky most of the time. The ground is white from the snow, like there's no color. There's no nothing. It's just depressing for several months. So that kind of makes me depressed, and it makes me go towards food. Like, okay, I'm depressed, I'm down, I need some color, I need something, I need a dopamine hit. So what do I turn to? Food. And it's usually carbohydrate-rich food, which of course will make you gain weight. The ADHD symptoms of forgetfulness, bad planning, and impulsivity add to the chronicity of these behaviors. A patient's understanding of the relationship between factors may facilitate compliance for each step of treatment, which consists of treatment of the most severe disorder first, usually the mood disorder, with a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, or in the case of seasonal depression, bright light therapy in the morning. So just to sort of sum all this up, again, I'm not going to keep reading it. Sorry, I keep moving around. My leg keeps falling asleep. Yeah, this is a long video so far. You probably haven't watched this whole thing. But if you've made it here so far, thank you for continuing to watch. It shows that you either are interested in the subject, you want to learn it for yourself, maybe you're dealing with this, or you actually care about me enough to want to understand what I've been dealing with. And so I really appreciate it. I didn't realize this is almost 18 minutes now, but yeah, it's just a big thing that you have to realize. It's taken me 38 years of my life to get to right here and realize what I've been dealing with my whole life. It's taken me this whole time. And now that I know what I've been dealing with, it's much easier to deal with. And I say that because now that I've had weight loss surgery, I've been meeting with a psychologist, or a therapist, meeting with a therapist, having a nutritionist, being in a program, and having weight loss surgery to take away that drive to eat. I did get depressed after weight loss surgery because I didn't have that dopamine hit, but it's sort of working its way back. I'm feeling healthier mentally, more healthier than I felt in a very, very long time, because I'm not addicted to food. It's like I had that problem taken care of. I'm not using food for pleasure anymore. I'm not using anything for pleasure anymore. I'm learning to deal with it. And so that's might be something that you have to do in order to get to where I'm at, where you're losing weight and you're getting healthy. You might have to realize the things that you're fighting against, the stuff that's in your brain that you're fighting against. It's more than just eat a salad. It's so much more. It's so complex. Anyways, this video has been going on long enough. I really appreciate it if you've stuck with me so far. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. I'd really appreciate it, and I'm willing to help you out as much as possible. If you can also do me a favor, please subscribe to this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. God bless you.